Hey, everybody, and welcome to this week's exciting episode of Unearthly Twilights, an Invisible Sun campaign brought to you by WebDM, sponsored by Tabletop Loot. Don't forget you get 15% off using the WebDM code, and paid for by the Grant R. Ellis Patreon. We're here tonight with our amazing cast of players. Most of us have been gaming all day in various places on the interweb, and some of us have been working painful, soul sucking jobs. But that's okay. That was during our time in Shadow, and now we're back in the actuality. So, why don't we go around and introduce our cast? And let's begin with Mr. Jonathan Pruitt. How you doing?
I'm doing great, Grant. I did both of those things today. I worked a soul sucking job for a few hours, trained a new tech, and then now we're here on hours 8 and 9 of my gaming. So I can't wait to get to it to figure out what's actually going on in this actuality. So let's get to it.
And to the left of Pruitt on the screen is Kelly, the opera geek. Ta-da! How you doing, Kelly?
Ah, hi. I'm doing well. I actually had today off, which was amazing. Well,
You're
mostly.
amazing.
Aw. But I am me. Are we introducing our characters now? I wasn't paying attention.
You can do that if you'd like to.
So I am Armida, a bizarre ardent of the Order of Goetics, who converses with everything. This should be fun.
It will be indeed. And moving right along to Mr. Jordan Shively from the Void.
Hi, I'm Jordan. I'm playing Noah Besden, apostate who is going to devour some knowledge, hopefully, and find out the secrets that are in this actuality.
And to the left of Jordan, the great TK Johnson.
It's me! It's TK! I took a break from spooky stories to put on my 80s face. I'm playing Babylon, and she's just really excited to be here, but if I have to be perfectly honest, I kind of hope this is over soon, because I've got things to do.
Sorry. Every time TK talks about their character, I just start hearing Space Age Love Song by Flock of Seagulls in my head, and I just imagine I'm roller skating through a Kmart or something like that. And last but not least, Mr. Jim Davis.
Hey, everybody. How are you all doing out there? I'm doing great. I'm really excited to dig into this this setting here and the party that we've got cooking up, because I don't know, the more I the more I was reading up on it, creating the character, like, all right, I gotta like do a deep dive into this. So really looking forward to playing tonight. I am playing Pseudonym Python, an iconoclastic ardent order of advance who calls upon the serpent. So that's where I'm at, and I'm excited to get to it.
And every time Jim describes his character, I hear "fight the power" in my head, and I'm like, "Fight the power!" I start throwing it. My Brooklyn signs come up. Anywho, so last session we went through the world building, character creation session of Invisible Sun, where we define our characters, the neighborhood they live in, the bonds that they have with each other, points of interest. You know, we came up with the Godega mobile taco stand and things of that nature. This week we actually get into playing the game in action mode. Action mode is moment to moment. We might also slip into narrative mode, which is where we travel from location to location. But all sessions of Invisible Sun in action mode begin with the playing of a soothe card. If you look on the right hand side of your screen on the Twitch, there is a soothe deck, and I play a card. And this is card number 46, and I'm going to pull it up for you on the screen. And we're going to see if I did this right. I fiddled with making this today. It looks like it's a card called the Lost Star, and I'm going to show that to you. So I'm going to turn off my artwork and turn on the Lost Star, and you can see all about it. This is a card that causes gray magic to become stronger, and it causes indigo magic to become slightly weaker. And as I read a little bit about this card, it is found in the Notions suit, which might be tied to some of our characters' hearts. Likewise, it has the symbols of cats, clocks, and winds, and it means good or bad luck, traveling a great distance, a great age, or a great value. And these Soothe deck cards impact the narrative and impact the play. So right now, the cost of playing a spell that has the color of gray is a little easier to do. It can either cost one less point of sorcery, or its effect can be just a little greater. Likewise, indigo is just a little harder to cast if you have an indigo colored spell. These cards also have divination meanings, might impact the narrative in ways that the players will learn later on. But we will play a Soothe card anytime an important event happens in our story, anytime our characters travel from place to place, and anytime any event of significance happens. So let's put away that Lost Star card for now and bring back up our picture. Our story begins in the city of Satorine, the city of notions, the gleaming city, a city ruined by a devastating war in which hate and destruction ran rampant. Our characters, the players in the game, fled into Shadow, which is the world as we know it now, in order to escape the war, and they've all come back from the Shadow for a brief amount of time. One of our characters has started seeking out information about their past. This character, this individual, is Armida, our bizarre goetic friend. Armida, here in Fartown, where it is always autumn, the air is crisp. It almost smells like freshly minted coin or freshly printed currency if you were in Shadow. Like, the air is very rich. The leaves are a permanent brown color, and there is a light wind blowing. Fartown is where the Vizsla, the magic users, live. What has prompted you to begin to seek out information about your past?
Mostly because I don't remember anything about my life in Shadow. I just remember following Archie down an alleyway and ending up here. So I don't like not knowing things. So I thought I could find some people to ask if they knew anything about how I got here.
And let's talk about the group. How did the rest of the group decide to become involved? Let's begin with Noah. Noah, you ended up deciding to help Armida uncover her past. Were you deeply involved or only involved on the surface level? Did they ask you for a favor? Were you the source of information they might have? Let me know.
I think Noah is very interested in Armida because he sees her as having this knowledge or power that he doesn't know what it is. He sees her talking to trees or the holes inside the trees, and he wants to know what she's hearing because he can't hear it. So he thinks that if he can help her figure out her past, he'll be able to find possibly the secret of her power and take it for himself, maybe.
Interesting.
So he is very like, oh, I'll help you. Yeah, I'll help you.
And Armida just thinks he's being nice.
Yeah. And he is being nice, but he also is always after that power.
She's not a great judge of people.
Now, one of the remaining party members actually knew the individual. They knew of a creature, and on this creature, there were changing shapes, runes, and writing that would go all over its body, which would reveal secrets. In fact, it would reveal the secret of your past. Which of the party members, and you'll get to decide, Armida, knew of this creature and told you about it?
I'm gonna say that it was Python.
Pseudonym Python told you about it. So Pseudonym Python knows about a creature covered in ever-changing symbols. This creature is known as the Lockless Key, and the Lockless Key has secrets and lore written all over it. And if you ever can encounter this creature, you can learn amazing and incredible things. Um, Pseudonym, tell me about how you encountered this creature for the first time.
Pseudonym. I encountered it well, initially when I learned about the reading of serpent skins. I was fascinated by other creatures that contained knowledge within their very form. This particular lockless key was a curiosity, but not my true pursuit. I filed it away.
And while you had great information about this creature, somebody else knew who actually had control of the creature. Was it Babylon or was it Galahad? So Pseudonym,
Who
you'll
are
get to
you
decide.
asking?
Oh,
Uh,
yeah, sorry.
Okay.
My bad.
I'm asking Pseudonym.
Oh, sorry. I was off in a whole other different part of my brain.
Okay.
A creature such as this feels... Babylon deals in secrets, or at least type of secret. I think maybe Babylon has the key to controlling this creature.
So, Babylon, you in fact knew who had control of the creature, and you had this individual's business card. You had the business card of one Mercy, who is a Visley Goetic who lives on Limeris Street here in Fartown, here in Saturine. Tell me about what you know of Mercy.
Well, she was very sweet when she stayed with me about 3 months back. She's really late on her bills, though. So I've been meaning to pay her a visit anyway because she promised me a memory of her second grade at graduation, but she never paid up. I haven't seen her in a long time.
Mm, mm. A very long time indeed. Um, and so you know that Mercy lives on Limeris Street and owes you some money. And you have provided Armida with Mercy's business card passed on. So Armida is currently in possession of this card. And the one who knows the best way to get to Limerence Street is Monsieur Galahad, as he is the one most familiar with that part of town. He has stayed there from time to time per his recollection. So our story begins with the party en route to Limerence Street. And you have come to two different an intersection, and this intersection is known as the intersection of Imago and Dullahan. And while you're here, you've come up to the turn that should lead you to Limerence Street, but it is nowhere to be found. There is no street where it should be. Perhaps Galahad has misled you, or perhaps you have taken a wrong turn. And with that, our story begins. There's row houses. There's a large home that's built entirely out of eyeballs, and the eyeballs are kind of like googly eyes, looking every which way in a comical and Muppet-like fashion. And with that, I imagine Armida is leading the way with Archie in tow. Um, and Archie kind of looks around and speaks to Armida and says, "He gave us bad directions," and kind of rubs up against your leg and kind of like lifts its tail up and points his butt at Galahad.
Archie, I really don't think he gave us bad directions. I really think he was trying his best. And I'll reach down and pick up Archie and like put him on my shoulder. Now, can do you see anything? I mean, you've got 6 eyes, buddy. Do you see anything that could help us get to the street?
I don't know of any Limerence Street. I rarely leave your house, as large as it is. Not to mention, this air smells foul. Puh, puh, puh.
Not a hairball. Not on my shoulder.
It's not a hairball.
So, is everybody with me, by the way? Or am I by myself?
Everyone is with you because
Okay,
Galahad
good.
would have known the best directions.
Galahad? Galahad.
Something doesn't taste right here.
He doesn't taste right.
Instruction. That could be what it is.
Archie.
But are you sure that you had the right street? Maybe it was a misspelling and you thought it was a different street.
Maybe I was on Limerick Street. I'm sure we could write something about that. Maybe later, though.
There once was a street by a dummy who thought his jokes were funny, says Archie. But remember, only Armida can hear and understand Archie.
But also, I think everybody else can hear him.
Yes.
I just assume they do. So you guys can do with that what you will. So I'll just sit there and giggle at my cat. You know, you're not very good at poetry.
I know.
Didn't
I'm
try.
good at pooping in the litter box and looking in 6 different directions at once. It's kind of the extent of my talents.
Oh, you're very talented, Archie. Don't worry about it. So I'll just kind of walk forward and look around the area. I'll be scratching him behind his ear, like.
Perhaps we should ask around.
That's a good idea.
Can I have a look at the street? Make sure it's made of the same material, thoughts, dreams, hopes, prayers.
Yeah, the street itself is it appears to be like most other streets you have gone down. It is not ruined. It is a very safe, well-traveled street, and you essentially have a choice. You can go down Dullahan or Imago. One is more like, I would say, a street where vending occurs, and the other one is more where people live. And you can see far down the road, there's a statue of a horse with a headless rider holding, the rider's holding its head in its arms. And the streets are fairly busy. And there's plenty of people you could ask, but the street itself, for all intents and purposes, it's normal.
Is this the kind of situation where you can roll like a counterspell to see if I can uncover that the street's missing because of magic or a spell that's hiding it from us?
So go ahead and read to me out loud, sort of what counterspell says.
Level 2 +1 die. I cancel one ongoing spell cast by someone else. The level of the spell serves as the challenge. 2 successes are required.
Make a knowledge check of some sort. Are you skilled in identifying types of magics? And if you're not, that's okay.
He has 5 in perception and
all right.
5 in intellect.
Well, go ahead and roll 10-sided die and let me know what you get. And I'm going to give you a little bit of information before you use your spell.
We're doing that in the roll 20.
You can just roll a 10-sided die or use the roll 20. It's up to you. So for our audience, the die goes from 0 to 9. There is a difficulty number that's currently withheld from Jordan's character, and that's because based on what he rolls, the more information he'll get. You got a 10 on the D10. So,
Which is horrible.
oh, that's a 0. Yes.
I mean, no. I mean, that's great, right?
That's a critical success.
As you're looking to cast the spell, you're not too sure what to cast it on. Almost to the point where you see some like trivial cantrips being cast, where a juggler is clearly using magic to juggle perfectly, which kind of annoys you. So you just kind of counterspell his cantrip, and all of his oranges fall and go rolling down the street. Not to put actions on your character, but it costs you no points or anything. It's just kind of like, ugh. Oranges fall, he collects them up.
And then Noah kind of like looks around at everybody who are kind of standing there, and he wonders if they saw that he was trying to do that. And then he goes and kind of leans against like a lamppost and nonchalantly pulls out a book like he's reading it, but he tears a page off and kind of like stuffs it into his cheek as if he's like chewing on it.
Nice.
And then he's like kind of like laconically waiting for everyone else to do something now that he's failed.
Good deal. Now, my next, how does the party respond to Noah's performance?
Didn't find anything.
No. I thought maybe this was like my house where sometimes the streets are alive or someone was hiding it, but as far as I can tell, there was nothing there. Maybe someone who's a little more apt in the hidden art of magic can see something that I can't.
Thank you. And the streets are busy, you said? Like inhabited, like people that live here are out and about?
They are. There's several people. One person you see is there's a woman wearing a pale blue gown. Her elbow seems to be dripping moonlight every time she waves her arm. It kind of casts off the shimmer, and she's kind of walking with an otherworldly grace, but in a hurried fashion. Likewise, there's a troop of about 7 girls that are on their way to school, and they're kind of playing a little game along the sidewalk. And there is also a tall man. He's extremely thin. He looks as if he was put together by poles. He has a tiny little head. He has a spider crawling up and down his arm. Those are some of the individuals of note. There's also a gentleman kind of sweeping the streets. He has golden hair that's in this most ridiculous, kind of pudding basin style.
It looks like he works around here. Or like he's just like, I gotta sweep the sidewalk.
I'll say this: he is definitely
pride
working.
and ownership.
He is definitely working.
Gotcha. All right. Yeah, Cyrodiil, she's just gonna walk over to him and not like get in his face or anything, but just get his attention. You know about a Limerence Street around here?
Kind of looks up. He sees you. He kind of like hops back 2 steps, and then he hops forward 2 steps and back 2 steps and forward 2 steps. He does it 3 times, and he's like, "Sorry, sometimes it takes 3." No, I know this street. Are there other streets? And you notice, make a perception roll. So if you're trained in perception at all, identifying things, noticing things, you can spend a Benny to reduce it. This is a difficulty of 2.
Okay, so otherwise I just roll a d10. I have 2 in my pool, but I don't want to spend anything at this point. R/R 8. No
you
idea
can
what that
tell
is.
that he is a summoned thought form. He is a spiritual, spectral person who has been brought here to perform a task, and his knowledge of the area is probably very limited.
Gotcha. Frustrated, Pseudonym will stand on the sidewalk and wait for the next person. The next person that walks by, just be like, Limerence Street.
Limit. Okay. It is. The schoolgirls are like Limerence Street. Where's that? Is that in? Is that in? The. Is that in some other neighborhood? There's no Limerence Street here in Fartown.
Well,
That's
the directions
nonsense.
I had said it was around here.
Someone gave you bad directions. Which of them gave you bad directions? Yeah, they're a bully. Yeah, and you should teach bullies lessons. And a group of girls kind of start hopping around. The group of you, one of them is staring at Babylon like gobsmacked. Just gobsmacked.
Babylon hates this.
Like I look up from my book at the
Nice people.
I look up from my book at the child and go, it's not polite to stare. And I look back at my book.
I ain't staring at you. And you shouldn't stare at books neither then.
Babylon plucks
Doesn't
one
have
of her
point.
plastic teeth out of her mouth and throws it at the little girl.
She like catches it, spies it, and then looks up at you, gives you like the most adorable little grin, and asks if you want it back.
It's all yours.
Geez, thanks! She kind of says with a crackly voice, and she goes skipping back to the rest of the girls. Did you see her? Yeah, I heard she's the party girl. Party girl?
It's
Oh,
the
man.
party girl.
She's the party
Yeah.
girl. We love the party girl.
Are the oranges still in the street?
Yes.
All
And
right.
Archie is kind of like swapping one back and forth, running circles around it.
Like, yeah, I'm gonna go over and try to start gathering them all up into like a little pile for the guy whose basket got counterspelled. Hi. So we're not from this section of town. Do you know where there's a Limerence Street?
Limerence. Nah. You're not in this neighborhood, none.
But I had directions that said it was right here. I'm looking for, and I'll pull out the card. I'm looking for 239 Limerence Street. I'm looking for someone named Mercy.
Never heard of anyone named Mercy, and I've lived here all my life. What with my family's orange juggling business. 200 years of orange juggling.
That
Pays the
doesn't
rent.
seem like a very stable job.
200 years worth of stability. Now, granted, we all live in the gutters, and he points, and there's like his non-juggling wife and his 4 juggling children, and he's like, "You wouldn't happen to be willing to give a donation, would you?" And he pulls out his hat, and he kind of reaches out to you. If you have any orbs, crystal or glass, we'd appreciate it. What, seeing how your friend there dropped all my oranges? He dropped Daddy's oranges, says one. He's like, quiet louse.
But I don't have any orbs. I don't have any. I was just trying to help you pick up your oranges.
Noah walks up and drops a few crystal in the hat and looks at Armida and is like, could you have gotten the wrong directions? Who gave them to you?
I will point directly at Galahad's face. He did.
Where'd you get the directions from, Galahad?
Well, I was out one night. I might have been drinking. I'm not sure, but that's a thought for another day. So I could have had it wrong, but I'm almost positive that this is where it should be. That's why I'm slightly confused.
And you know that this is where Limerence Street should be, as sure as your name is Galahad.
Yes.
You know it as sure as
don't-
you served in the war. You know it as sure as anything.
So something is afoot.
Is it maybe
possibly
like
the
the
street
boat
is
dock? Is it maybe like the boat dock and it only shows up sometimes?
Oh. I'm not going to put that outside the realm of possibility.
To be fair, you are just outside of your neighborhood. You're in an area called Silver Hill, which is, down the way.
Galahad's neighborhood or mine?
Both of you live in the same neighborhood.
Oh, we do? Okay.
Yep.
I mean, I don't leave my house much, mostly because I keep getting lost in my house because every time I wake up, I'm in a different room.
Your house is huge. Have you thought about that?
I feel like this reminds me of something I've eaten before, but I can't quite put my tongue on it.
Well, regardless, Limerence isn't here now, so maybe we should just ask about Mercy.
Well, I asked the orange juggler, and he said he didn't know who she was.
Whoa, okay.
Babylon, you notice that the tall man with the spider crawling up and down his arm, the one that looks like he was put together by, he's a good 7 feet tall, Pole's tiny little head. He has not taken his eyes off Armida since she's been asking questions.
Babylon's absolutely gonna say something. She's gonna be like, excuse me, rude. Hello.
What?
Hello. And she'll pick up one of the oranges and like throw it at him.
He looks. Oh yeah. You throw it. It hits him in his head, and it kind of bounces. And he goes, "How dare you strike me with an orange? That was unkind."
Well, maybe you should stop staring at my friend. Just because she's single and lonely and lives all by herself in a huge house with nothing but like really sad people doesn't mean that she's here to be stared at. So if you don't have something to say, you can just walk yourself over there. Oh yeah, and
the great tree up
whatever
back.
that is.
Archie like hisses at the guy, and he's like, "First, your breath smells a little. You should floss. Second,
Fair.
I am spoken for."
Well, I'm sure she'd love to see you here staring at a young girl and her weird rat thing.
What brings you to Dolahan?
Well, first we were minding our own business, so if you have anything to say about a Limerence Street or this woman named Mercy who owes me money, that'd be great.
Limerence Street was carried away in a large storm.
See, flooding. It's a trouble everywhere.
Armida kind of comes up next to Babylon and just looks kind of stricken. She's like, carried away? It's gone?
It was carried away. A storm came and blew it away, he says.
In what direction?
I remember. Well, far away direction. Make an interaction check, Noah. This task difficulty is 4.
Okay.
You can spend a point of Bene, and if you have any skills, which I don't believe you do, you might though.
I have 1 point in interaction, but I don't want to spend it right now.
Okay.
I'm just going to roll.
So go ahead and make a roll.
D10. I think I rolled a 7.
Okay.
I could have done it twice by accident, but
he clearly does not know any Limerence Street, and he clearly is not speaking any words honestly to the group of you.
Noah kind of looks at him, and his smile gets really big, and for a second you almost see a flash of way too many teeth within than he's normal. Again, he leans forward. He's like, "You don't taste very truthful, friend."
He wiggles a finger,
Nice.
and it causes an orange to fly up into his hand, and then he chucks it at you. Go ahead and make a defense roll. It's like a dodge roll. Is it? Yeah, you could spend either movement or physicality.
Or could I use barrage to catch it and throw it back at him in the air, like stop it in the air?
Absolutely. You better believe
All right.
it.
Okay, so do I still roll for that?
What's it say?
Her spells just happen. It says level 2 +1 die. A variety of loose hand-sized smaller objects by me fly at a nearby target. The target or anyone close suffer damage equal to the level of the spell.
Ooh. So you spend those sorcery points to do it, right? And he's going to try to dodge, so you're going to have to make a roll. It's going to be a sorcery roll. So go ahead and spend the points to cast the spell, then roll a 10-sided die. We'll see if you hit him or not. Yeah, you do. You clock him upside his beanpole face. The orange splatters, and it smashes on his face, and the citric juices run. He's like, no, no.
And for a second, the other oranges that are still on the ground start to kind of like levitate and like hover, and they kind of are like jumping around, almost like they're in boiling water.
Yeah. And then a spider jumps off of his sleeve and onto you, and I need you to attempt to dodge.
Okay.
Oh no. So you're going to take 4 points of damage, and this is a good opportunity to go over the rules of damage with the game. So, successful attacks deal damage. Do you have any armor? If you don't have any armor, which
how would I
probably
know that?
it would be on your sheet, and it would have come as equipment with you. More likely than not, you've just been bit. So you'll take 4 points of damage. 3 of these become a wound, so you now have a wound associated with your Certes stat pool. So you have 3 or you have 1 wound and 1 injury, which means you're going down the damage track and getting closer to death. You also have a vex in your physicality pool now. This is kind of like a negative Benny, where you have this permanent things are always a little harder for you to do now, and that's from the spider biting you. What does the rest of the group want to do? So you guys see this. You see Noah's pegged the guy with an orange. The guy threw at him. Noah was defending himself. A spider jumped off the guy and bit Noah, and it's left this like giant throbbing welt where it looks like it's torn a hole of the void into him. And you all have.
Is the spider still on me?
It's hard for you to tell. It's little. It feels like it's all over you, though. Your best guess is it is.
Because I think Noah would want to eat it.
So let's see. Babylon, you're up. You can choose to do something if you want.
Oh, Babylon hates this. She's like, oh my god. Like she's just like freaking out. Like she kind of like dances away from like Noah for a little bit. She's like, ew, don't let it get near me. Other than that, she's gonna, I don't know if holding an action is a thing, but she's gonna like if it like comes for her, she's gonna be like, no.
No, there's just actions. So
that's fine.
But you can always give an if then statement, or hey, after if something happens, I'd like to do this before it does, and just kind of prep. How does Galahad respond?
Galahad is, this altercation should never have taken place, and he is going to pull out his trusty pocket watch, flip it open, and show it to this man, saying, "Do you really think we have time for this? I mean, really?" And in doing so, is going to cast his spell Chronomania. It is a level 4 +1 die. And it's a curse that forces a person that I choose to become obsessed with time. They constantly check their watch, and this gives them one. It basically it's a distraction to the detriment of all their activities.
Yeah. So you spend those sorcery points, and the way this looks in the fiction of the game is all of your faces look like clocks to him now. All the windows look like clocks. The street looks like clocks, and he blasts himself to Bermuda. And you just see him. He shoots off like a rocket, and he goes flying through the air. And he is out of sight and out of mind now. However, he has left a card behind where the spider once was. It's attached to Noah's neck. And it simply says, Mr. Child, Rectifier.
Noah peels the card off and then kind of just holds it up like he's holding his neck, and he kind of just like hold it out to the others, just kind of like just like fuck this noise, you know.
Now,
Are you like? Are you?
Armida, do you know Mr. Child?
No.
you've never heard the name, no. It's
Does
true.
the word rectifier mean anything? It's probably one of your stupid schools of magic, sounds like to me.
It's not.
I only have one school of magic. Maybe you shouldn't have made him mad though, Noah.
All right, next time I'll let the oranges hit everyone, which I'm sure weren't just oranges.
Maybe they were all spiders. And then she just kind of wanders off down the street and is like looking in the alleyways to see if there's another street she hasn't seen yet.
Yeah, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to play another soothe card, and this drops on another path of on the path of suns, and this soothe card will replace the last one. And I believe this is card number 35, it looks like. So let me just pull this up for our audience. And this will impact and change the way magic functions a little more. So this card is called the Forgotten Prisoner. And it's the Apprentice card. Interesting. What this means is it is a sovereign card, and it will have certain effects. It's from the suit of mysteries. Its signs are rats, mirrors, and stone. So
that's like my stuff, so that means it helps me?
Yes. And I believe what it's going to do is it's going to make tasks a little easier for you to do. So you get bonuses when you are performing your actions. Roughly plus 2. Now, when you're performing skills, and I'll check and verify the exact bonus when it comes into play. But Armida, as you go down the next alleyway, you feel all the hairs on your neck stand up, and a cold breeze begins to blow through you. What do you do?
How does it? Okay, so if I want to just do some kind of perception, what would be a perception check to the alley? Just see what it was that just made me feel that way, maybe.
Okay, so you're going to attempt to discern exactly what happened. So, you can make an intellect check or a perception check if you're looking around, or if you're trying to remember things that make hairs stand up on the back of your neck. So if you're looking around, go ahead and it'll be perception.
Okay, so I roll that and I spend one of the points off the perception, correct?
Yep. And do you have any skills in perception at all?
I don't think so.
Okay, so you spend a point, and go ahead and make a roll.
7.
You definitely notice this thing. You are being followed, but you can't quite see it. It's very clearly staying out of your vision, and it's attempting to. It is trying to evade and stay opposite to whichever way you are looking, and you can also sense that it's drawing nearer. What do you do?
Um. Well, I know what I want to do, but whether I can do it is the question. So, what I would like to do is summon one of my specters from my house to like be there and see if they can help me locate where this thing is.
Okay. So this will do. So, what level specter from your house do you want to summon?
It doesn't have to be a very high level one. I just kind of want eyes in the back of my head kind of
Sure,
thing.
sure. And you want it to look around. So, what's the name of this specter?
This specter's name is Aaliyah.
All right. So you're gonna spend. Is this like a level 2 specter? Just kind of
Yeah.
little peeping
Low level,
Aaliyah,
yeah.
peeping Aaliyah, and so go ahead and spend 2 sorcery points, and then how are you going to? For our audience, she is playing a Goetic, which is a summoner. She can summon angels or demons or something else in between. So, is she more angel, more demon, or just kind of a neutral entity?
She's neutral. She's kind of like one of
Not
the background ghosts that gets stuck in my house, you know?
I'm non-denominational. So you summoned the non-denominational Aaliyah. Now, how are you going to convince her to come? Are you going to persuade her, bribe her, trick her, coerce her? Because she's got things she wants to do.
I'm going to bribe her and tell her she doesn't have to do any of the chores in the house for the next 2 days.
I believe she would be down with that, knowing her the way I do. So when you are bribing an entity, you're going to have to make a couple of checks, and I need you to make 2 persuasion rolls. And I'm going to give you a +1 on both of these to make it a little easier to do. So you just have to beat a 2 on persuasion twice. So
Okay. 4.
So this will be an interaction roll. If you're skilled in persuasion, yep. So you do it. You do that thing. Oh, that's a 0.
Yeah. So I don't do that thing.
You do not. Now, do you
Well,
want?
if it's yeah.
Would you like to spend a sortilege to roll an additional die?
Yes. We're good. One more time. There we go.
All right, so that works. And you manage to summon Aaliyah. Aaliyah is going to spy for you and guard you. Just kind of stick to your back. Aaliyah screams a horrifying scream, a loud, deafening, piercing scream. Everybody else in the party hears this. Do you turn around to see what she sees?
Yes.
All right, I'm going to drop this into roll 20. So as you turn around, you see a creature of great and menacing evil behind you. You turn around, and it's about a foot away from you. Its claws are out. It's lurching in towards you, and just as it comes about an inch from you and Aaliyah, it vanishes and is gone. And you get a point of despair to use towards building crux and advancing your character. And that was our first GM shift of the game.
And did we all hear that scream?
You all heard Aaliyah scream for sure. It all got your attention. What would the party like to do when they hear Aaliyah scream?
Run to Amito.
Yeah, I whirl around like, what the fuck, Armida? Where are you?
All right.
Oh, here. And I'm going to be kind of whispering, to Aaliyah to kind of calm her back down because that was a very loud scream.
All right. So Aaliyah's like, oh my god, Aaliyah's kind of crying. She's resting her little spectral head on you, blowing her nose on your fine clothing. But she's a specter, so no snot comes out.
Can we see her specters?
Yeah, you see Aaliyah. Aaliyah's there.
Okay.
What was this?
it was very, very strange. I knew something was following me, so I summoned her to kind of watch behind me, because like it was one of those things. Every time I turned around, it wasn't there. So I put something behind me, and she screamed. And then when I turned around, it was like a person, but with really big claws, and his face was split into two faces. And then he vanished. I don't know where he went.
A ghost that scares other ghosts?
That is very strange. Normally my specters aren't scared of much of anything.
Armida,
Hmm.
burned into your brain, you know that this entity is looking for a place known as Limerence Street, the same as you, and a person called Axon.
Accent. And that just gets dropped into my brain?
It's burned into you. The second you saw it, you knew it was looking for Limerence Street, and you know it's looking for a person named Axon.
So I think that they're looking for the same street we are, but a different person. This person, Axon? They're looking for someone called Axon. Galahad, you knew the street. Do you know anybody named Axon?
You don't. You're muted. He speaks in mime.
I'm beginning to regret leaving my books today.
Something happened to this street, and well,
Why does someone steal a street? Why would you need a street?
Or maybe the street was so scared it left on its own. Maybe the street is hiding from someone.
I mean, streets could technically go anywhere if they wanted to.
I mean, it makes sense. It could hide from someone. I mean, other houses hide from your house, Noah.
I wonder if my house could find it.
You're
Is there
really
any-
smart.
it doesn't
Is
your
there-
house need a vaccination, Noah?
No, you've been talking to fucking Chad apparently, and that guy's just a jerk.
I see. I didn't one of these residents say something about a storm or something swept away. I didn't quite hear.
But then Noah said he was lying.
lying.
Was
Yeah.
lying.
He had never even heard of the street.
Oh, I see.
I think he was, I don't know what Mr. Childs, what he was trying to pull.
Perhaps to deter us or keep us off the trail. Maybe that's his ghost.
But I sensed that he had no knowledge of Limerence Street at all.
I think he just liked to make up stories.
Where
And
he
then
tried to-
suddenly Armida just gets this look of panic on her face, and she's looking around everywhere because she doesn't know where Archie is.
Archie is currently trying to soothe Aaliyah.
Oh,
He's kind of like nuzzling on the ghost, but it keeps falling through because she's incorporeal. It's just it keeps dropping
the
on her side. But it seems to be making her feel better. Yes.
so your ghost has kind of like protoplasmic tendrils around it or something? Is it one of those kind of ghosts?
it's like she's like the ghost in Ghostbusters with like the filmy dress, and like her hair
Yeah.
kind of floats a little bit.
The ghosts of Christmas Past from the Muppet Christmas Carol. These are what they are. Do not blame me. She floats around.
Noah's kind of looking around to see if the other specter left any sign of itself when it left, like an oily stain or any type of magical residue.
Make a perception check.
And I'm going to spend perception on this. And that just makes it one easier, right?
Yes, it does.
Okay. I rolled a 3.
You're not able to discern any residue, and an entity of that description should leave a lot more.
Should?
Yes. You're pretty well versed in this stuff. Now, at least according to the literature you have access to, and you actually have access more than people would expect an apostate to have. In fact, your best guess is that there's probably someone here in this part of town that has more information on this entity than you have in your own mind.
So I look over at Armida. So this specter you saw should have left a lot more behind when he disappeared, just like your ghosts do sometimes. I think someone around here is yanking our chain or trying to like put us in a different direction than we've been trying to go. I feel like maybe that wasn't even a specter, really. Maybe it was more a message.
Well, it certainly tried to scare me. I mean, I'm used to things randomly appearing out of nowhere, but normally they only have one face at a time.
Yeah. So I think we need to maybe look inside some heads around here. I mean, talk to some heads. Sorry about that.
At this point, Pseudonym has sort of wandered further into the alley. Like everybody's sort of chatting and discussing, and she's just sort of like ambled down the alley a bit and see if there's anything else to see.
Oh yeah, you definitely see. There's an old man. His eyes are completely covered by a low brim on his hat. His hair is like the coarse straw hair of a terrifying scarecrow. His skin, though, is a deep bronze. And there is a snake kind of coiled up around his leg. And every now and then, the snake's head whips out like a yo-yo. And he's just sitting there, and he has a book, and he's tearing out pages. And he pulls out a quill. He seems to scrawl something on it, and then just kind of chucks the paper to the side. And he kind of senses you approaching, and he turns, and he looks at you. And where his eyes should be, there is a playing card, little miniature playing cards. Excuse me. And it is essentially the 7 of diamonds and the 3 of hearts. And he kind of clears his throat. He goes, "You a buyer, ma'am."
I have a question for you. And I'll sort of like get down on his level, but keep a bit of a distance. You know anything about what goes on around here?
This is where people live in Far Town, Silver Hill. It's a place where people earn a living. There's an orange juggler on the other side of the corner. He's really kind of a bit lame.
Yeah.
And
the streets around here, do they often change or disappear or amble about?
Amble. No, no one really goes missing ever. Would you
What about
like
Mr.
to buy
Child?
paper? I'm Mr. Child.
Yes.
Spindly man?
Sort
The
of,
rectifier.
The rectifier, yes.
What does that even mean? He comes and he goes from time to time, looking with his eyes the way he does. That spider always hopping, always biting.
You don't think that he rectified a street, perhaps, and the memory of it?
What street?
Limerence.
I lived here all my life, and I've never heard of no Limerence Street.
He glares at Galahad.
And Noah's like, well, if that person rectifies things that he thinks aren't right, perhaps he rectified the street out of everyone's minds. Is he throwing the pieces of paper into the air? He said he's turning them out of the book and throwing them down.
He's trying to get them in a pile, but he's not very good at getting things into a pile.
So Noah's going to lean over and pick up one of the ones that are like off the pile and look at it.
You can see that it is a spell, and it is a spell to turn candles into candy. It's a cantrip. A candy trip.
Yeah.
Hey,
No,
there'll be 5 glass orbs.
He
This ain't
sets
no
it kinda
library.
down with the look of distaste. Just trifling cantrips.
Are you looking for something with a little more potency? You ain't
I'm
compensating or
always
nothing, are
for
you?
something with potency.
I've got
I'm always looking for something maybe a little more unknown.
a secret spell.
Always.
Well, I got one of those, and I keep it here. And he points to his pocket, and he goes, but it's gonna cost you.
What'll it cost me?
It'll cost you 5 crystal orbs. I'll hand it over.
Is that on our sheet, the amount of our starting money?
Yeah, you have whatever starting money was part of your foundation. So for our viewers, the foundation determines their background and a couple other aspects about the character.
I'm not sure I have. Is that a lot of money that I wouldn't possibly have? Because I don't think I have that on information out right now.
Go ahead and read your foundation forte heart.
I was the aromatic one. I remember that it was in the middle with money.
Aromatic. All right. So let's pull out your background. So I'm going to quickly search the Google Doc for our friends on the internet, and all right. And an aromatic starts with 150 crystal orbs.
So this guy just asked for like $5, basically.
Yeah, it'd be the equivalent of about $50. US dollars.
Why don't you let me see the secret first, and then I'll tell you if it's worth buying.
Because then it wouldn't be a secret no more, now would it?
How do I know it's something good? How do I know it's actually a secret?
Son, you think I'd push bad product through these streets? Now, this is the best. This is a raw secret right here. Right, proper
All right,
secret. Don't let any of them see. And he kind of points at them. Really
I give him the money.
All right. You give him the money, and he pulls out a small raven statuette. Very tiny one. He says, swallow it whole, like a gummy bear. You'll be able to fly for an hour.
You said that out loud?
You only heard it in your mind.
Okay. And Noah kind of looks at me, he's like, you swallow gummy bears whole? That's not good.
It's the only way. It takes 7 years for them to digest. When you're poor, you never know when your next meal's going to be. We can't all be rich like you, sir. Well, with your fancy clothes, your brushed hair, your trim nose hairs.
Noah looks up a little, like, and is slightly amused that anyone thinks that he has brushed hair, because his hair is completely crazy and to the side.
Let's put it this way. He makes you look like quite the catch.
Armida will all of a sudden pop up right behind Noah's shoulder. What's that?
What's what? And Noah at the same time kind of tucks it into the cuff of his jacket.
But I thought he just gave you something.
I didn't give him nothing, man. But if you would like something, I've got all kinds of stuff. Are you sure? What about something for your cat right there? A proper collar for him. Archie's currently leash free, and Archie's like, the heck, he's gonna put a collar on me. No one's
Don't
gonna
worry,
Archie.
Archie.
No one can tame me. As he starts like strutting his little cat body, you can see his little his little cat curve. He's like, check that out, the full package. Yeah, flexes.
Don't worry, Archie. Nobody's ever going to put a leash on you, and I'm going to pick him up and just kind of cuddle him up. Now, is this gentleman? He's magic, obviously, right?
He's at least selling magical things.
Okay, because if he's not magic, he doesn't see a cat. That's why I was asking. So yeah, I'm just gonna sit there and stroke Archie. He doesn't need a collar. I'm sorry. I don't really have a lot of money.
Is that old Galahad back there? Gallon Babs? You guys
Of course.
recognize this guy?
Yeah, because I'm down here all the time.
I get all my
So-
best stuff from this guy.
It's old Bubbles McPherson. You know him.
Oh
he's
my god!
Yeah, he's a con artist. He's been known to pull
Oh.
lots of cons.
Oh my
Yeah.
god, you smell even worse than usual. This is amazing.
Thanks. I've been rolling in shit all day.
I
Yeah, you,
believe it. You look like it.
Yeah, I just gotta pass off as a hobo, you know. Gotta make sure I get covered in
a little
filth.
Raven figurine off on people.
Yeah, I've sold like 7 today.
Okay.
Oh, that's fantastic. You still owe me like 20 orbs, but that's fine. We'll talk about it next Thursday.
Hey, you know, gotta pay the Babylon tax, you know, as they say. City
You're
of
right,
Notions.
you do. Actually, you know, speaking of, there's somebody else who needs to pay the Babylon tax, and I just can't find anyone who knows her. Mercy, does that sound familiar?
No, Babs, that name doesn't ring a bell, but you know who would know? The Gerent. The Gerent is the head of the neighborhood.
Does
She's our
Babylon
boss.
know him? Or her?
It's a she. Her name's Elaney, and you know of her since you don't live in this neighborhood. You've never dealt with her directly. She's pretty busy, and you know for a fact you'd have to schedule a visit with her about a week in advance.
Schedules. Does I've been meaning to ask, does Babylon have anything in her memories that she's collected that would suggest somebody that knows something about Limerence Street, like either somebody walking down the street or having seen Mercy or something like that?
Not only have you seen Mercy in your own memories, you have memories of Pseudonym, Galahad, Armida, and Noah. They all know, sure, you know, right as the mail. Limerence Street is a street. Mercy exists. Not only that, there was another magic user, a maker of great power, named Darren, who would have lived right over here. In fact, you know that he served with Galahad during the war, to the best of your knowledge.
Parties too.
Do I know where his house is, or was it on Limerence Street?
It was on Limerence Street.
Okay, well that's fine. Do I have any memories of where this lady's house is?
Yes, you do. You know how to get there. You know that it's not too far from here. However, it's difficult to get in without an appointment, and so you would have to either smooth talk those at the door, use magic, some other means.
I mean, Gal could probably get us in. I'm sure he made an appointment at least a week ago, didn't you, Gal?
I think maybe we could work something out, given the proper distraction. I have a few ideas up my sleeve.
Distraction's not a good problem.
While this is going on, Noah kind of pulls the raven thing out of his cuff and like kind of like licks it a little and gets like this kind of like disappointed look on his face and kind of like then tosses it over his shoulder into the gutter.
The Raven?
Oh no.
Yeah.
You
I
see
will
Bubbles.
see him toss it over his shoulder into the gutter and immediately go, "What's this?" And go,
Oh,
Archie ran and got it and brought it to you.
oh no.
"Thank you, buddy."
Archie.
Babylon's gonna see that
Archie.
immediately. Like,
Oh, yeah. And as you go to take it from Archie, his teeth kind of cling onto half and half comes out, and he grows one wing and starts like flying in an awkward circle. And he's just like, no.
I will grab Archie with the part that I've still got in my hand and like grab him on both sides of his mouth like this so he has to open his mouth.
oh no.
Pop it right in so that he gets the other wing too, so at least he's balanced.
Woohoo! He goes, all right, where would you like me to fly? I will be your eye in the sky as he starts going up really high, really high. You almost lose sight of him. He's a dot. He's a speck now.
Archibald, get back down here right now.
No, there's birds up here.
Archibald,
Yes, master.
I will tell Dan not to feed you for a week.
I hate him. He lowers down. Aaliyah's still around, and she is considering buying things off of Bubbles, but of course she has no money, and she asks Pseudonym, no, not Pseudonym, Galahad, buy a charm for a lady? She kind of says with her mouth full of teeth. I'd love a bow.
A bow.
Yeah, I used to have a bow.
You don't look like an archer.
No, a little ribbony thing. You're hilarious. That was a great joke, she says, and she laughs at your joke.
I don't think that you are being genuine right now. I'm pretty sure about that.
Make an interaction roll.
But, all right.
So 1d10.
Interaction is a 3.
You know that she is being completely genuine. She's incapable of deceiving you.
Sorry, my time out and about has maybe left me a bit jaded. This whole situation is very upsetting. I'm sorry. We should be here. This is it. But yes, I will buy you a bow. How many orbs?
Bubbles goes, magical bow or a standard bow? A bow that would fit on a ghost, a specter? Ugh. Jeez. I think 10 orbs. Glass, not crystal. It's like make it change.
Oh, okay. Yeah. That's right. Those are less. I tell you what. I'll do it.
All right. Spectral bow for the lady. And he opens a small tin case. He kind of dips his entire arm inside. And he pulls out a beautiful misty white piece of ribbon that he ties into a bow. And he says, all right, it's yours now. You're going to look pretty silly in it.
Well, thank you.
Armida comes running up and she's got Archie tucked under her arm like a football so that he doesn't keep flying off.
And he has like the stink face that he's given everyone now. Like,
Galahad, did you just buy my ghost a present?
Well, yes, I'm trying to pass on a little good fortune and perhaps it will find its way back to us soon.
That's so sweet.
I'm
gonna stand there and wait for him to put it on her. I just watch.
And she kind of floats.
And Galahad will tie the bow.
As you're tying the bow, your mind is flooded with memories to a time past, a time before Shadow. She seems strikingly familiar to you. There is a bond between you and this specter that goes beyond tying a bow to her head. You know her. You didn't know you know her till right now when you're tying the bow. And now you know her. But just as the moment came and it filled your mind in images, thoughts, memories, feelings, it's gone. And the bow is tied. And with that, Aaliyah disappears and goes back to the house. Her summoning time has passed.
Did Galahad just tie the knot?
Oh, he's married to a ghost. We all take a point of despair. Now, Galahad, you receive a point of joy. And with that, is the group headed to seek out the gerent?
Yes.
Yeah.
All right.
So, Babs, you've seen the gerent before, yes?
Noah kind of smirks at her being called Babs.
Oh, okay. So Babylon has seen the Jaren, or they said that they did.
She's gone.
No!
She'll come back.
Talking about the Jaren causes you to disappear. Maybe
She's
the
been
Jaren
rectified.
Limerence Street.
In pseudonym, you know that nearby you have a connection, a member of the Vance nearby.
Okay.
This is one of your contacts, a man named Wistrin.
Wistrin?
Wistrin, yes. Who might have some more information as well.
I think in all of this purchasing of baubles and trinkets from the bum in the alleyway, at some point, Suda would have gotten one of their attention. You know, one of the groups just dies with him for a minute before, you know, just mentioning. I'm just gonna pop over, and she goes and finds her friend Wistrin. And this is the level 1 Vance connection I have.
Yep. It's going to take you some time to get there. So,
Sure.
all right. So, let me grab a book really quick because that has all my Wistrin information. Yes.
Noah kind of is like following kind of behind, trying to read from a book while they walk. And kind of like looks over at Armida and is like, "Oh, I can't believe you got me to come with you to do this."
Armida's trying to wrestle Archie chasing birds with wings and read it over Noah's shoulder at the same time.
Noah kind of looks over and then kind of like closes the book slowly, like with this look of like, "Excuse you? You know, it's not polite to read over people's shoulders. You never know when you might read something that you'll regret."
Well, I didn't mean to upset you. I just wanted to start a conversation, and you're always reading, so I thought maybe if I read something that you were reading, I could start a conversation with you.
Noah like is slightly embarrassed now. He's like, "Oh, okay. Well, feel free to talk anytime you want."
I tried to talk to you. I left you a note in the tree, but you never answered it.
Oh, I didn't know that required an answer. I thought you were just commenting on me, commenting on you. Thank you for the note.
It would have been fun if you'd left me a note.
So, pseudonym, you know that Wistrin is at a place known as Cafe Bar. It's a cafe
bar.
during the day. It's a bar at night. The
Cafe
bar
bar.
itself changes. Yeah, it's a wine bar during the day, then it's a bar at night, and the building itself changes and transmogrifies depending on what time of day it is. And you know Wistrin's there, always helping herself to a little wine in the afternoon. Treats herself right.
Well, then I'll make my way over there. I'm not, I'm trying to sneak away or anything, but I'll make my way over there.
All right. So you you travel. The journey is uneventful, and you come to Cafe Bar. It's this bistro style cafe, and currently, it is in bar mode. It is a wine bar, and with that, you can see that it's somewhat crowded. There's an eagle-headed individual with a lion body sipping a glass of wine with old Wistrin herself. What do you do?
I'm gonna walk up.
She's sitting there, yeah, very narrow features. No, but you could always pull one up. And just a question, did the rest of the group go with pseudonym?
Yes.
Okay.
I feel like we're awkwardly kind of tagging along.
Yeah, they'd have to like catch up a bit.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to ditch them, but
Yeah. All right. So
I'll pull up another chair. Wistrin, I hope I'm not interrupting. I'm just in the neighborhood.
she goes, beg your pardon? Kind of stays up and down. She goes, oh, uh, Mademoiselle Viper. Pleased to
Something
meet you.
Is
You,
this about time?
no, 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 no. And then the eagle-headed lion-bodied individual goes, perhaps another time when you're done with your girlfriend. And then he gets up and kind of stumbles out the door. And then she kind of, a little tear in her eye, and she's like,
It's a little rude of him.
it's extremely rude. He's a jerk, and he
Who is
treats
that?
me poorly.
Who is that?
No one of consequence, and I hate him, she says. And you can tell, you see there's like 5 wine goblets like lined up, and every one of them was filled with the good stuff.
Wistrin, I hate to bother you while you're upset, but I'm here with friends, and look and see them, I guess, coming down the street. We're looking for someone, Visley, Mercy. Used to live on Limerence Street.
Limerence Street.
Any ring any bells?
Here in Silver Hill, Limerence Street.
Yeah.
Lady Boa, no, there's no such street here. In fact, none that I know of in Sadarine. Is this a shadow street that you're recalling?
I don't think so. I think something else is at play. But if you can't remember, then you can't remember. And no Mercy either. No one of that name or.
No.
I presumably have a description of Mercy.
Yeah, to the best of your recollection, you remembered her as a dark-haired woman. Her eyes looked like the moon going through the phases of the eclipse. Her arms were strong, but petite. And essentially, you have you'd be able to draw her if you would like.
Okay. I'll give as good a description as I can. But Wistrin, if you don't know, you don't know.
I'm sorry, I don't. But is there perhaps you could always check our archives.
It's a possibility. I might
You're
need
by
to.
order in my study. I could grant you access. You are of the Order of the Vance, correct? It's written on your face,
Sure.
as it is mine.
Nothing written.
Oh.
No, yeah, you see she wipes, and it says Vance for a second, and then it kind of drips away like sweat.
Well, access to the archives would be much appreciated, although we are in a bit of a hurry. I'm afraid that would take some time. Are you going by there later today?
Yeah, right after I finish my drinks, I'll be returning.
Oh, I didn't. I thought some of those might have been for your friend. Well,
I have no friends. I had friends, but they betrayed me.
Sounds terrible. Well, I don't want to intrude, like I said. And she. What's her sort of demeanor like?
She seems kind of wistful, scorned, hurt, inebriated, but ready to go back on the job because, she's got to pay the bills. She's got to pay them bills.
Sure. I'll leave her to her 5 goblets and see if I can't go find my friends.
All right. Yeah, they're there. Did any of you go into the bar cafe?
No, I was loitering in the street, kind of outside waiting.
I was outside. I've taken off one of my several belts that I have, and despite earlier promises, have in fact looped the belt around Archie, and I'm like carrying him like a balloon. So I have just the cat on a belt, and I'm walking down the street.
I love
Noah
it.
pulls out a small book that has a cover that has a tree on it, but the shadows of the tree seem to writhe and like go around the book and back again, almost like as if the sun, a sun that you can't see, an invisible sun, is changing position. And he kind of like nonchalantly hands it to Armida and is like, well, you can read this book if you want it. You know, I mean, you should need to ask before you read people's books. But this one is about the secrets of the shadows of trees, which you seem to be interested in. So you could read this book if you wanted to.
And she'll be so excited that she momentarily lets go of Archie and then like jumps and grabs him back, but just has like this just rapt expression on her face, and she looks at Noah with the most like huge smile. She was like, I've never gotten a present before.
And Noah kind of like, you can see almost immediately regrets it. I mean, it's like, it's just a book, okay? You know, and like, I've eaten some of the pages. Like, it's just you know, just read it. It's cool. Be cool.
Wistrin comes out of the bar and just kind of comes out. She kind of snaps, good posture. She looks right at Sudan and Python and says, "Do you want to go dancing sometime?"
When?
A week. A week today.
A week from today. That sounds fine.
Okay. I'll send an invitation. You'll need it to get in.
Perfect.
And you can't wear that. I've seen it before.
Very well. And she just like looks down and you know,
it's nice.
Probably wears just her workout clothes, I guess. I don't know. You know, just comfy clothes.
And to be fair, you can tell Wistrin is extremely jealous of the comfy clothes look.
Right. Yeah. Just.
And if you're shy to come alone, you can always bring a +1.
I'll consider it. You know, sometimes it's fun to just see who's there.
It is indeed. And then she draws it looks like a hexagon in the air, and you can see it forms the shape of a person, except you can see right through them, and you can see right through them into a study. And then she walks, and you can see the person is a perfect silhouette of her. She walks right in, and then it vanishes, and she's teleported, and she's gone.
So, did they have information about Limerus?
I suggested the archives at the Order, but that might take a while.
So I am playing another soothe card, which will impact the game again. This is card number 32, the Ghastly Presence card. So this is the card of mysteries, rats, mirrors, and stone. And what it does is pale magic is stronger, green magic is weaker. I'm going to bring this up just so our audience can see it real quick. And we are advancing down the path of suns. Now, of note, should we ever go all the way through the path of suns and land on the invisible sun, that card will impact magic until it's replaced, meaning it stays for a very long time.
So you have to go through the path again to replace it?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
So with that, so here are some things the party knows. The Order of the Vance may have information on Mercy, Limerence Street, or any other strange occurrences that have occurred. There was at least one that Armida encountered. Likewise, you know that there is a gerent, and the gerent is kind of the leader of the neighborhood, a leader of about 5,000 people, but it takes about a week in order to see her, unless you are able to either talk your way or use magic to get your way past her assistant.
I think
Like
that
yeah, go
we
ahead,
can.
go ahead.
I was going to say that I believe that we can work this out. If you could distract the assistant for just a moment.
Hmm.
I'm sure we can think of something.
You are making okay. So, is there anything you'd like to do before you go to the gerund? Now, remember, you have your homes. You have other places in Firetown you can visit. You are able to use your abilities and your magic, etc., and pursue things to get more information or prepare yourself. You're really in control here. So, or you can go right to the gerund straight way. What would you like to do?
Noah kind of looks at the others and he's like, I know we can go and question these people, but I still think possibly we could get my house to take us to this street.
Might be worth a try.
I mean, if one of y'all could manifest their memory of the street, we could give it to my house so we can get the scent. And then possibly it could transport us there. It's transported me to streets I didn't know existed when I didn't want it to. So perhaps we could convince it to take us to Limerus.
It's,
But if not, we can go and try to talk to one of these schools of magic.
What does the party think?
So how long do I think it would take to do any of this research at the archive?
It would take you some time. And here's how we would handle that. It's a narrative scene. You take the time, you make a die roll, and based on the results of your die rolls, you get different information. And other players, like say, while you're researching, they don't have to be dormant. They can say maybe they're all going to Noah's house, and while they're in Noah's house, they're going to be searching for Limerence Street. We'll switch game modes from action mode, which is moment to moment, to narrative mode, where we're going to do broader strokes.
Okay. Then I'm thinking, if you guys can handle the distraction for the gerund, and then maybe, I don't know. I guess that's what I'm curious
You're
about.
the party.
Yeah, I might just go do some research while you guys decide how to tackle this particular one.
So who here has been to this person's house on Limerus? Armida, have you been there before?
Nope.
Galahad, you have been there before.
He has memories of it.
So we could arguably get you one of your memories out, which I could help do. Or I think Babylon, isn't that something you particularly adept at? And then give that sent to.
Would love to help Gal.
We've spent many a night drinking, her trying to get all my memories. I give her stories, some memories. Got to be wary with this one. And he kind of flashes a wink at Babylon.
So
it's at least worth a try.
So is the plan for Babylon and Galahad and Noah to attempt to extract Galahad's memory of Limerence Street? Armida, what would you be going with them, or would you be going with Pseudonym, or would you be going your own way? As Archie's sorry.
Yeah, I've just got him on my belt. I'm just carrying him down the street. I mean, he's having fun. I just don't want him to go chasing birds. I think Armida would actually want to go probably back to her house and try to summon up something that would know more about the street.
Okay. I like that. Summon summon an entity that can give you knowledge. So here's how it works. The Pseudonym finds her way to the Order of the Vance, finds her way to the Hollowed Halls, and engages in private study. So I need you to make 2 intellect rolls for me. Go ahead and make the first one. Actually, I only need you to make one.
Just the one. All right. So I have a pool of 4 in my intellect. I don't know. Let's see what that. 9 is what I got.
All right. So here's what you get. You know you're not able to find anything on a Limerence Street. Absolutely nothing on Limerence Street. But you do find a picture that matches the description of you find a picture of the description that Armida gave you of the creature, and you know that it is called the Seeker of Souls. And go ahead and make a second intellect roll, and if you'd like to spend any Benny or anything.
Yes, I would. So if I use like one of my points, I don't know, how do I get a Benny from my pool? Let's see, I rolled a 2.
So would you like to spend a sortilege to re-roll, or to roll an additional die?
Yeah, I'll roll an additional die. I mean, like lower is better in the system. Yeah, it's sort of like, or is it the higher that's better?
Higher's better.
Oh, you should. Okay.
But 10 goes back down to 0.
But 10.
That's why it says 0 on the die,
Yeah,
on the actual Invisible Sun dice.
Okay, so 9 is the maximum. Yeah. Okay. In that case, I would rather spend. I think I'd rather spend 1 to re-roll.
Okay.
Yeah. So my sortilege is 2.
Yep. It'll come back when you rest. Okay.
8.
So this you also know. You know that the Seeker of Souls is an inhuman spirit that feeds upon the mortal souls of those who gain its attention. And Armida has its attention. You also know that the Seeker's attention is usually gained by using magic that deals with souls, particularly the transfer or movement of souls independent of physical bodies, such as specters and ghosts. To the second group, you are taking Galahad, and I just imagine, you're laying him down on a table. It almost looks like the worst surgical. This is like Civil War surgical procedure. It's like, all right, and you guys are just like getting kitchen rubber gloves and putting on comical hats, Halloween masks. It looks like the semblance of a medical procedure. But it is then that you feel someone else is in the house with you.
In my house?
Definitely in your house. And it got in here. And at first it just sort of feels like a faint icy glow is in the room. And then you see, standing near Galahad, almost as if he wants to perform the procedure like you, a small ghostly child appears, floating in midair. And he is transparent and translucent. And that is where we will end the session. So let's go into character summaries, and let's talk about how each of our characters may have changed a little during the adventure. Let's go ahead and start with Galahad.
Well, Galahad is, he's a stoic, which, sorry I didn't give my whole spiel at the beginning. I'm an itinerant stoic of the Order of Makers who warps time and space. But this whole Limerence Street not being where it is cause for concern for Galahad, worrying that even more is slipping away from him. Due to his past and the war and his time in shadow and then passing over. So he's slightly troubled by this, which is why he is willing to let Babylon and oh my god, I just went blank. Jordan, what's your character's name?
Noah.
Noah. God, sorry. He's willing to let Noah and Babylon maybe do this procedure, just to make sure everything's okay.
And how has the adventure impacted your character arc? So, what character arc have you picked?
Now, were we supposed to pick? I thought were we supposed to pick 2 or 1?
Just one.
Oh, just 1. Well, then, because I had picked 2.
That's fine.
But
Which one would you feel is more applicable to you right now, based on
which one
how
is
you
more applicable
developed?
is uncovering a secret.
Ooh. So let's take a look at that in the book. So for our audience, each character in the narrative has a character arc, and as part of this arc, they are going to advance their character story and learn new things about themselves. So yours begins by naming your secret. So, what secret are you trying to uncover?
Galahad is trying to figure out where he is going, and not in the general like what am I doing with my life, but he is trying to figure out literally where he is going.
Okay.
He is slowly slipping away from this reality.
So
And
I'm going to give you 1 point of acumen for naming your secret. That's the first step on your arc. And now that you've chosen between the 2 and you've named it, you get a point of acumen, which we'll talk about in a side scene and in the group chat after. You use acumen and crux to advance your character, to make your pools larger, gain new abilities. You can add magical secrets to yourself that let you do special things. There's a lot there. And to answer to chat, acumen and crux are 2 different forms of experience points. It's the same as if we were playing Dungeons and Dragons and I said, I give you an experience point, except you use these to purchase things in game. And there's different kinds of experience that allows you to purchase different things. And you gain these 3 different types of experience points by playing the game in different ways. And the way your character earns this experience is different than the other characters because they have different arcs, different fortes, different hearts. So they are going through a different story and narrative than each other that is unique to them. And I hope that answers your question. It's kind of like an XP in Cypher, but not quite. Cypher XP lets you advance as well as lets you re-roll dice. This is different than that. So, in keeping with time, let's ask Armida. Armida, how did your character grow and change, and how has she developed throughout the course of this adventure?
Well, she put her, she took the first step on the path to finding out what was in her past, because she doesn't really remember anything from her life in shadow other than following Archie down that alleyway. Also, she's been mostly alone except for a cat and a house full of ghosts since she got here. So she kind of feels like she feels happy because she thinks Noah gave her a present, and he really didn't, but she thinks Noah gave her a present and that they're friends now. So she feels happy, and she feels like she has a way of being helpful to the group by using her ability to summon things to our advantage, to summon things to learn about our goal.
And I also like that you summoned a specter to watch your back.
It makes sense.
Yeah, it was a fun one. Pseudonym, I also need to give you a point of joy based on your whole interaction with Wistron.
All right.
So make sure you give yourself a point of acumen as well for beginning to uncover your mystery. Next, let's talk to Noah, played by Jordan Shively. Jordan, how has Noah grown as a character through this session?
I think he's beginning to doubt that it was a good idea to come with these people to find out Armida's past, because at first he thought that it would be pretty easy for him to kind of get to the core of her knowledge, but now he's beginning to see that like he might need to give more than he wanted to, and he's not sure how he feels about that. But for now, he's willing to kind of see where this leads, because he had just been reading nonstop in his house by himself for like the last year. So he thinks he needs to get out there because he's eaten everything that he has in his house. So,
And TK, how has Babylon grown and changed over the course of the session? What is Babylon's character arc? Can you refresh my memory and also explain it to the audience?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Oh, that's cool. Babylon's character arc is fall from grace. So over the course of the story, she will be doing things that will cause a rift between her and people that care about her until she eventually kind of, I don't know, bottoms out.
And what part of this session was most interesting to you? And I know your internet was going in and out and made some of it difficult and challenging, but
Yeah, I'm sorry.
it's okay.
I think that her I think that it is actually like kind of coming across that she is a very superficial person. A lot of stuff is very like face value for her. Yes, she stood up to a guy that was like staring at her friend, but then she also like backed down immediately when it got scary. So Babylon, I think, is less concerned about how to be helpful to the group and grow with the group, and more interested right now in what Babylon wants, which is pretty standard for her.
Can you explain to us, for the audience's benefit, what your initial misstep was that led to your fall from grace?
It actually happened in shadow for Babylon. Her initial misstep, because she's used to being on top of the world, like literally. She was very much a career woman, used to putting other women down to get to where she needed to be or wanted to be. And so her fall from grace was a literal fall from grace, where she had been sleeping with a secretary's husband, and the secretary found out and pushed her out of the window of her skyrise.
Now,
Yeah.
something rock and roll, YOLO. Are the kids still saying that? Now
No.
no. The next something for all the characters to think about is you all have a memento from your shadow's life, or your shadow life. So think about what you brought back from shadow when you came back to the actuality. And go ahead and give yourself a point of acumen for not defending your friends fully and backing down as part of your character. Next, Jim, playing Pseudonym Python, you kind of came into this session with a lot of questions and a lot of wanting to learn more about the system, how magic works, a little bit about the setting. Do you feel you got, kind of the beginning kernel taste of that? How was it for you? And then how had your character changed over the course of the session?
I feel like I've got a better grip just sort of on the system as a whole. I'm very, I like the... I don't know, I like both, right? I like the fiction and the system of it. So I feel like I've got a better grip on how the system works and sort of what how we can manipulate it to get the characters that we want to play. I think for me, it's like I'm interested. I really want us to dig deep into like the different how each other's magic is different from each other.
Yeah.
That, but yeah, that'll come. So Pseudonym's arc is to learn, and I used a suggestion from the key what she wishes to learn more about is this power that she's able to call upon, and this sort of cosmic serpent that fuels her magic. So that's hers. I think, for her, it's her time in Saturnine has been largely um, uh, insular. She's been a lot of time in her home, a lot of time writing and sort of like engaging in intellectual kind of battle. And now she senses a time that she needs to leave and be more active and engaged, particularly in the order. And so perhaps making friends and schmoozing and making with the nice and working your way up the ranks is in her future.
And the research that you did uncovering information about the Seeker of Souls, who I think I can bring that picture up again. The Seeker of Souls earned you a point of acumen for the successful 3 researching tasks that you performed. So you do get a point of acumen for that. You haven't quite started focusing on mastering your power yet, but you are still doing things that advance the story and the story narrative as well, because that's the other thing. We have character arcs, but we also have an overall story arc, and we get experience rewards for both. So where can we all find each other online? So we'll kind of go in reverse order, starting with Jim. I know we got a show tomorrow, and you're filming some stuff in Austin coming up, but let's go ahead and get our plugs out.
We sure are. So I am one half of WebDM. You can find us on YouTube, Twitch, other places under WebDM, where we talk about RPGs, give some advice, and generally just enjoy ourselves as we make our way through this weird new hobby/career. So we are shooting new shows here over the next week, and so I'll be a little bit more out of pocket than normally am. But those are always cool days. You always get to just relax and have a good time, and really get to focus in on what's the most fun about WebDM. So that's where we're at. Come check us out if you haven't already. Yeah, there we go.
And always great playing with you, and really appreciate the opportunity to play Invisible Sun here on the WebDM Twitch channel. And TK, where can we find you online?
It's TK. You can find me on the internet. All right, spooky stories on the internet. You can find those spooky stories at my website, tkjwrites.com, or on my Twitter, TK Joins the Fray. You can find lots of pictures of me doing stupid stuff with makeup on my Instagram. It's the same stuff depending on how many characters I'm allowed to have. I have way too many pictures of my cat. Thursdays, you can find me here being a giant lizard, eating people. Not sorcerers, though, because that sorcerer was a mistake. I won't eat that. And on Sundays, you can find me on the D&D Twitch channel playing my fancy tiefling boy for at least 5 more weeks, and that'll be fun. Yeah. And starting next Tuesday, you can find me on Don't Split the Podcast Network, playing my half-orc fighter, Isabel, who's super sweet, and she's your favorite auntie. Yeah, that's it. I'm done.
And that's you're playing in the Demon Plague, right?
Yeah, Demon Plague with James.
Definitely check that out, guys. James Intricasso and John Fors are 2 brilliant designers. I backed that Kickstarter. It was extremely impressed by that level 1 to 20 campaign. It was my favorite campaign that was published last year. So shameless plug. Also hashtag not sponsored. I'm not sponsored by them at all. I just happen to love their work. Sorry, Rhinoceros. I'm not going to play it. I might play it one time.
Rhinoceros.
Rhinoceros. Thank you, Matthew. Also, Jordan, where can we find you online, man? It's great to play with you. I love Noah as a character.
Oh yeah, I hope I'm doing him justice. But you can find me writing weird stuff as well on the Dread Singles Twitter, which is @hottestsingles. You can find me designing things at Void Merch, which is voidmerch.net. You can also find me as half of the Caring Into the Void podcast, where we talk about cryptids and self-care. And then you can also find some of my recent writings in the Spire RPG from Grant Howitt, from Rowan, Rook, and Descartes, and upcoming with City City of Mist. I'll be writing stuff for them. So that's some of the places you can find me.
You're definitely doing your character justice. Really enjoy playing with you, and I know you're a little new to the streaming thing, but you're an awesome role player. Fun.
First streaming game ever.
No, and you're jumping into a weird one. And as people are asking, like, rhinoceros.
You can't hear it, no.
The stream can.
Oh, the stream can, okay.
Yes.
Rhinoceros.
Sometimes it takes 7 before I get it out of my system. And Kelly, how's it going? You had a heck of a day coming into the stream, but you absolutely killed it.
Aw, thanks. So I'm Kelly at the Opera Geek on Twitter and Instagram, where I also share far too many pictures of my cat and makeup. So I think TK and I should just like form a coalition for that. We should put makeup on the cats. No, bad idea.
That's banned in most states.
So you can find me writing all kinds of weird stuff on Twitter. You can occasionally find me here on Twitch playing whatever game I'm currently playing, if it strikes my fancy to stream it. Currently, that is Witcher 3. And you can see me Wednesdays, starting again next Wednesday. We've been on hiatus. Wednesdays on the Greyhawk channel as Greyhawk's singiest bard Brelinda in Path of the Plains, where our DM has just dropped us in Barovia and summoned Vecna's Citadel behind us. So we have Castle Ravenloft on one side, and then we have Vecna's Skull Citadel on Mount Gakis behind us. That's great.
Rocking a hard place.
Yep.
Love it. And Mr. Jonathan Pruitt, the man, the myth, the legend. Love your surrealistic backdrop. How was that for you? Where can we find you online?
What was that?
Go ahead and plug us on your channel.
Oh yeah. Yes, Dolly is my favorite. I absolutely love this game. It's a lot of fun. It's just I love the crazy as shit nature of it. And so I'm enjoying this. I'm Pruitt. Want to have a web DM? I have my game on Tuesday night, Starward Bound, and that's fun. But yeah, we got some shows to shoot next week, a whole new batch. Looking forward to that. And I also share way too many pictures of my cats. So if y'all would like to form a triumvirate or something like that, I think that we could take the world by storm with our cats.
But can we put makeup on you?
PAX Unplugged, let's do a makeup party.
Sure.
It almost happened at GexCon.
Sure.
I will join the makeup party by live stream.
I can honestly say this. It wouldn't be the first time, and it probably won't be the last.
So as for me... my name is Grant Ellis. I'm an independent content creator for tabletop role-playing games. I'm currently writing for 2C Gaming and a couple other companies that I'm not allowed to name. I am financing 4 Invisible Sun shows on 4 different channels. This is my passion project, and I've been really enjoying it. I also enjoy the word
Rhinoceros,
when said by Matthew Mercer. That actually came out of design. I was looking for different creatures in D&D that trample things and gourd them. Rhinoceros came up. And then I was like, wait, you can hear the pronunciation of this? And I was like, Matthew, what are you doing here? And I just kept hitting it all night. But you can catch me on WebDM's Twitch tomorrow for The Land Between Two Rivers. On Fridays, I'm on the Greyhawk channel with the Queen of the Spiders campaign. Season 4 starts this Friday, where we are playing through modules GDQ 1 through 7, which is a legendary super module of D&D. Saturdays, I know I'm somewhere. Oh, Saturdays I'm on Eric Vulgaris' channel playing another Invisible Sun campaign, A Star-Crossed Rose in the Garden of Midnight. And on Sundays I'm on Monte Cook Games channel playing the Owl of Lycia Cypher System campaign. Mondays I'm on Off the Table with another Invisible Sun campaign, My Neon Life Amongst the Casually Unreal. And then Tuesdays, I'm running production for Mr. Pruitt on Starward Bound. So there's a lot of good things going on, most of them right here on this channel on WebDM. Thank you all so much for coming out. Thank you all for the subscriptions, and thank you all for listening to the word rhinoceros. Have a wonderful evening, guys, and let's roll the credits.
The river rolls through the countryside, and voices of 100 crows, a celestial tide, and great pine branches overhead, where the wild wind rides. All things rule here, campaigns of a lost year, and dungeons darkened, waves of light, and ecstasies of questing nights. How the wind revives us here.